Okay, welcome everyone to the February Board of Education meeting. We can call the meeting to order at 6:02. That we can rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Okay, we have Kate Beauplant, Megan Wicks, Kathy Grant, hopefully arrived, Susan Miller, Rachel Ricard. Absent is Arika Kalwara and Valerie Musciano, but also present is Scott Fenner, Amy Cefaletto, Lloyd Johnson, and Darlena Laranja, and myself.
State the Board of Ed mission statement. The Voluntown Board of Education's mission is to provide our students the skills essential to reach their highest potential in a safe environment for learning as they aspire to become responsible, respectful, and civic-minded members of society. We commit to help educate, challenge, and inspire each child to excel as lifelong learners who can adapt constructively in an ever-changing, multicultural, and technological world. We have not received any correspondence or any public comments.
No, but there was something right before that.
And then, yeah, the rest of the agenda looks pretty straightforward, but we do want to add great. Okay, so we're going to need a motion to add an executive session to this because that's not included. Well, actually,
We do have one.
It's to add a topic.
Okay, a topic was to negotiations to add to the executive session on the agenda.
I'll make a motion to have
Negotiations.
for the executive session.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unheard? Motion passes. We'll add negotiations to this session. Okay, so consent agenda. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at that? Do you have any comments, or would we make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Make a motion to approve it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unheard? Motion passes. Okay. No, you're good. Just in time for reports and updates. So we'll start with the principal report. Yes.
February was somewhat quiet, knock on wood, but we had Spirit Week last week, and that was always fun. So we concluded the basketball and cheerleading season, so we had a pep rally on Friday, which was great. You know, it gave a chance for the cheerleaders to actually perform because unfortunately there's no cheerleaders really locally anymore that have teams at school. So yeah, and you know, it's kind of sad because when I coached way back, you would go to the competitions and we hosted before, but it's not the same, you know, as it was. But it was good that they were able to showcase, you know, what they've done all season in cheering. That was great.
Just on that point, maybe we could think about, I know just because all the other teams get a chance to do that kind of championship level, but maybe, because there's so many high school mini kind of performances, they won't let us, not like actually perform, but like maybe do like a little
At their
performance.
school?
at the school, like,
Oh, I'm
maybe
sure.
as like,
Oh, yeah,
to
maybe.
like kick it off, like,
Maybe.
kicking it off, or the
Yeah.
Valentine Elementary School,
Takes
you
us
know.
all season to prepare, so
Open.
that's
I
cute.
know, you know, let's go, you know, it's like, and then they're all there, they
Yeah.
get like a huge crowd of
They would
like high
love that.
schoolers, I think that would be such a.
Especially like a place, and Chris will probably be open to it, but like NFA
Yeah.
really welcomes that kind of stuff, so
Right.
that's,
So they,
you know,
no,
just
I'm not encouraging any more cheer on.
Yeah. So, yeah, so we wrapped up benchmark season, not season, but benchmark testing, and we had our data team, so we do have, some students that will be getting some MTSS services, within their classroom or outside of their classroom with Mrs. Kelly, so, we've been working on that, the small number of kids, which is great. It's just that HMH has like taken on itself now, like after a couple of years of having the program, so people are really much more confident in utilizing the program that we bought our ESSER funds for an appropriate program, so that was good too. Coming up, PTO skate night is on Tuesday night. Yeah, and volleyball was happy, I was like scheduled around their schedule because last year they were upset, they couldn't come. But PTO skate night will be on the 24th. March has a lot of events, and one event that will happen on the night of the board meeting is going to be the family literacy night. So, we're gonna start at 5:30, so anybody's welcome to come over before that, and that's where teachers come and they put on literacy and math activities. It's ocean themed this year, so that's something that'll happen. We have the PTO dance, we have a lot of things coming up in March. I didn't list them because it would have been a lot, but stay tuned for that kind of stuff.
Okay, and then it'll be.
And I'd like to give a big shout out to the teachers that dress all of their students in snow gear and let them come out in the snow. I'd like to have that on the record because it's been a challenging year, I feel like, with the snow, and now they're talking about another foot of snow, so. Potentially,
Yeah.
so,
They go out quite a
Yeah,
especially
so-
like K through two. They
Yeah,
can
and-
somewhat dress themselves.
and the kids look, my kids have always looked forward to it,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'm not sending a single snow gear, so I don't know what breeze it is happening in, but I haven't seen a snow boot pulled out once, so. I guess those fourth graders are just.
Yeah, I was like, just the thought of putting on gloves or mittens onto 12 or 20 students is
Yeah.
a big thing for them for their section.
Exactly.
I'm glad it's happening, that's great. I was looking at, just figurines that, the kids are growing out of and stuff, I'm like, I should ask a teacher, like, all this indoor stuff that they probably do want, like. I don't know,
Winter's long.
Manipulate,
Totally, yeah.
dinosaurs, okay, I can,
Yeah.
thanks. Anyway, yes, cheers to that. Thank you. Are you, okay, all set?
All set.
Thank you so much. We're doing okay health-wise? No major
Today, yes.
today?
Tomorrow, we don't know.
All we wanna hear. And yes, it'll be play season too, and I love
Yes, the
that.
play. Yes.
Not from last year, but.
There's a lot of things happening, so everybody buckle up.
Mhm.
A lot happening.
There's a lot of flu around right now. We keep getting things out from the state
Yeah.
and out, and it always has. They were talking about closing some schools.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fake news.
everybody's not gonna be happy at home.
Okay, so, remember the superintendent report?
Yes,
No.
I'll be quick, because.
You wanna do Lloyd?
Tonight.
Lloyd,
Oh,
I didn't,
Sorry, Lloyd, would you like to go, Lloyd, and then we'll do
Just-
superintendent?
Sorry.
A couple of things. Now that we know that where the eighth graders are going to go, it helped us to accurately budget for their needs for next year, those eighth graders that have IEPs. And there's a new grant, the Special Education Expansion and Development Grant. It's called the SEED grant. And we completed that application this week. The grant amount is $16,409. And we're using it primarily for technology, supplies, and equipment. There isn't enough there to use it for staff. And there are some restrictions as to what you can use it for. So that went in, and we're hoping that when those things arrive, some of them started, will enhance the program. Thank you.
When you say that they have determined their schools, have you guys received all of the, I know you had mentioned before they were waiting on responses, have all the responses come in?
No, we have 7.
Well, kids have to decide.
Yeah. We have responses from the
From
high
the
school.
school, yes. The kids have to
The
decide.
kids are not.
Oh, they've gotten more than one
Yes.
acceptance and now they have to decide.
So like they might be deciding between like Ledyard and Ellis or Norwich, right, and you have like a 10-day turnaround.
Did they get, how many kids that they have?
I think there were 7 or 8 for Norwich, 2 were going to Ellis.
I have,
I
that's
think
all,
it's gotta have
that's
it,
all,
yeah.
I'll do it.
He's got it.
Stealing, sorry, did I steal your
That's okay.
thunder? I'm sorry, I'm just
There
curious.
are, there are
where
7
everyone's going.
outstanding, 23 students have selected,
Okay.
7 have not. That's where we are, but I'll get into it.
Okay. That's exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so my report is gonna basically be the budget, and to say that all this discussion of snow stops now. Okay, Megan, you started it, stop it.
It was Mason's fault, actually. If you told his sister there's no school on Monday.
There definitely is no snow coming Sunday, that's fake news.
It's a Monday, it's coming Monday.
It will, 'cause I'm not working this weekend.
And it will not be coming, and so be prepared to be in school. And that is my current events news. Tonight we'll be going over the first pass at the budget. So the board can see kind of, how we're developing it and get feedback from the board, and then we'll move forward and continue the process. So that'll be the first time to go a little bit deeper into it. As we go. It'll be a good time for questions as well. So as you're listening, either jump in at that time or wait till the end, either one is fine. And hopefully it'll give everybody insight into what we're facing. Other than that, I think we're ready to roll.
Standard.
That's it?
I think so.
Going to
We
old
can,
business?
yeah, going to old business.
I gotta stand up because I have to stand up when I do this.
Let me start now.
Yep, ready to rock. All right, so the way I chose to start this is just kind of outline a little bit of what goes into all this. And again, this is my first time with you, so I'm not exactly sure how you want to hear this or like this, so feedback is important. And it's your first time hearing from me. Well, I've done these things for the last 16 years. I haven't done one here, so open to whatever, however it plays out. The current allocation today is about 7.3 million. That's what we're currently operating under this year. That comes from grants, state and federal funding, how we make our money, and education cost sharing. So this is something that currently is in the news as a potential issue. There was some testimony yesterday that was given. I chose not to. I'm not schooled enough yet to feel I could get up there and give some input at this moment. But in the future, I would expect that I'd be front and center, challenging the state if they're not going to give us any funding. But a lot of other people are doing that. Don't exactly know if it's going to hit us or not, but we have to be prepared for that. I'm not expecting too much, but we'll see what happens. Important number, health insurance has an increase from the state of 15%. So that means what we take is every insurance package, we apply a 15% increase to it. What Darlena does, and if you know, please say hello to Darlena. I'm not sure if all of you realize exactly what Darlena does for the budget. Nothing. She just sits around and
Yeah.
eats her pink pens. Darlena, right now, if you asked her a question of, if you said to her, Darlena, what account pays for pencils? She would then ask you a question of, well, the pencil's for this or this, and then she would tell you the account number. That's a massive skill set. I just want to make sure you guys understand that Darlene knows this and does this, and is the first part of rolling over this budget is Darlene. So important. So thank you.
Thank you.
But she refuses to like lower the cost of health insurance. So
Just to confirm, that's projected still, or that's the actual?
we're gonna go with 15 for right now.
Yeah.
They're giving us a 12 to 15. Doing 12 would not be smart, because then if it's 15, you're in trouble. If it's 15 and we have a little fluff at the end, that's better than being under at the end. So as far as this goes, it doesn't, if you look at line by line, you're not gonna see a flat 15% increase. Because what Darlena does is she knows what's happening as far as the insurance. If someone's retiring and has a certain package, you have to replace that package with an expected package. All of those things happen. Sometimes it's in our favor, sometimes it's not. Sometimes someone who wasn't taking insurance might now take insurance next year for whatever reason. So all of those things get factored in. It's not a perfect science, but it's pretty close. So at the end of the day, it's a bad number, 15%. Yet some districts reported as high as, believe this number, 40% increase in their insurance premiums for next year. We heard that number from a district, 40%. Crazy.
Wow.
I don't even know what you do. 40% is kind of call it a day. But thanks for playing. Kids stay home. There's nothing we can do with 40%. There are 30 eighth graders moving to the high school. That's important to understand. High school tuition increases for the 26-27. Before everyone was here, we're talking with Megan and Rachel. The concept here is when you're in a K-8-7, you're beholden to other people's decisions. If a school raises their cost, they raise their cost. We don't get to challenge that or say yes or no, or say, I'm sorry kids, you can't go to that school anymore because they're too expensive. Those things don't exist. So our tuition is directly, our total cost is directly impacted by high school costs. It's important to understand, you'll see why. We always deal with salary increases, and this year we're in negotiations. So I will ask for the board, any questions tonight? Understand, we're in negotiations this year. So just keep that in mind. Don't ask questions that put me in a position where I can't really answer them or expose anything about that, okay? Just keep that in mind. Special needs, massive impact. We're going to talk specifically about that. Shared service, what that means is whether or not we do something with somebody else. So we are an entity. We try to operate and see, does another entity do what we do? And would it be cost effective and mutually beneficial to do that thing together, whatever that thing is. I'll talk more about that as we go. Our fleet of buses. Last year, you purchased 4 new buses. That had a massive positive impact on your maintenance budget. You'll see how I manage that in the budget. Still looking to improve our fleet again next year. Talk more about that as we go. The districts, I call it the fabric of what this district is your class size. It is unique. It would be seen as insane by pretty much any other school district probably to see class sizes that we have, but that's who the district is. And that's important, but it's part of the budget process. And I'm sorry about that, but Dee Dee refuses to get that thing out of the way. Energy efficiency, I'm going to talk to you about solar. That was one of the things that was brought up to me when I first got here about solar. And I'm going to present to you on solar. You're going to like what you see. All right, now whatever you're doing is not letting me move forward. Okay, so we're going to play a little game. Let's see how we do. Anybody?
Current.
Excellent. What percentage of the budget do you think that is?
Town budget.
Correct, 100%.
100%.
Good job, everybody, so far here. And that is our district budget. Okay, here we go. Next question, what is that number?
10%. Right.
We're gonna do a math remedial course.
10%?
1% of the district budget.
Yes.
1% is the number. So when we talk percentages to people, it's a 1%, 1.1%, 1.2%. You have to understand what that number means. And then what we don't have today is the mill rate. So we cannot tell anyone right now what the impact of 1% is. We will, it's just not today. The town, as you guys know this better than I do, but the town will do that with us.
Right.
Just not yet. All right.
Again. Okay.
This would be impressive if you get this one right.
Special ed.
Kathy,
It's
it's 2.6%, which is, that is our special needs increase for next year. Now, I want to talk about, what did you just do?
You did it.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Go back on.
Oh, go back on this. This is important. Now, I'm going to talk about special needs tonight, but I'm not talking about it in a way that disparages anything or anyone. This is our obligation, both legally and morally. Our responsibility is to give kids what they need, not all the same. And what some kids need costs more than what other kids need. That's the way it goes. So I'm sharing this with you for a purpose, and the purpose is not to say there's a problem with this. It's a reality of a budget, not a problem. Is that, Lloyd, how'd I do? Anything to add about that? Very good. All right. Keep this in mind. 2.6% of the increase is just that. And almost all of that is related to high school. Almost all of it. Not all of it, but almost all of it. Anyone know what that one might be? That is what percent of the entire district budget special needs represents. 27.7% of our entire budget is devoted to special needs students. Now, that might sound high, but we have almost 20% of our students are special needs. So you can look at it that way too. So it's not crazy, just these are factual pieces that I want you to understand. Anybody, 9.58%. $65,000. And that represents just our special education tuition, regular school tuition increase. So that's not for outside placements. Those are for the three, Wheeler, NFA, and Griswold. The increase for just special needs students is that,
Go back.
yeah, we'll stop doing that, is just that amount of money.
And that includes kids that are currently already in high school, or just your 8th graders going into high school?
So what we do is we take the existing and we roll everything over, and then we add the new 8th graders going to 9th grade. Subtract out the 12th graders, and you come up with your new number. Lloyd's department takes care of that.
Yeah.
He provides that to us. Darlene and I, was a couple hours yesterday, just on this alone, just special ed alone yesterday, making sure our numbers were correct and aligned with Lloyd's numbers.
But that increase reflects the increase for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders as
9 through 12. It's not just 9th graders.
not just your 8th graders.
Correct.
At the new rate that they're providing.
Right.
Well, at a new rate, correct.
Yep.
Do we have any special ed students going to the tech schools? And then do we pay extra for them if they have, we have none going, or we don't pay extra for them if they go?
Any student who goes to a tech school, the tech school owns the child and their expenses.
Okay.
All we do for them is provide transportation. We'll have a PPT at the end of the year that documents the transition. And then the tech schools take over. They were made an LEA a few years ago by the state law.
Now, do we have any going to the
Well, right,
tech
that's-
schools?
Because
Oh,
we're
we don't
small,
know yet.
I prefer to stay away from any individual type student questions. I'm not trying to be, it's just we're so small, it's easy to pinpoint. And that's really trying to avoid that in a public meeting, if we can. I can answer those
Yeah.
kind of questions in
Yeah,
executive.
that's fine.
This is a fun one. This,
Savings of our budget for kids going into tech schools.
absolutely not.
Oh
Ready?
Right.
This, that was good though.
Yeah.
This would be our budget increase,
Wow.
not including our special needs increase. The reason I share this number, this is extremely important. This number.
Yeah.
You can't say to me, reduce it. You can't decide, I can't decide. There is no changing that number. That's happening. It doesn't matter what the town says. It doesn't matter what anyone says. That is happening. If at the end of the day, there's gonna be reductions made from what I'm presenting tonight. That is not changing. Which means anything that we're going to do
Just a teeny.
is going to be reducing the $41,000 increase to even less. That will mean anything we're going to do is gonna have a direct impact on K-8 programming. I will tell you, I don't fudge a budget. Darlena can attest. The budget I'm presenting is the budget. If we don't like the budget, or the town doesn't like the budget, if someone isn't happy with the outcome, then we have to reduce things, like do less of something. It isn't go back and figure it out. It's just doing less of stuff. That's how it works. So, I don't know how it's all been done in the past, but that is just the reality of a school budget. It's just the way it works. And that could
How
happen.
it's done, you know, it gets, we refer to it sometimes as the roller coaster, cause you know, you don't know exactly where everybody's gonna choose to
You don't know yet.
go or what you're gonna do,
That's
but
it, yeah.
we know there's a hard cost.
We get somebody dropping in April or May.
Well, that's the,
Yeah,
and
that's
we
all.
do have that sometimes, and that happens, right? So,
This is nice to see, it's kind of concrete information.
it's very concrete, it's very simple. I try to make it very, easy, tangible. That's where we are, minus the special needs. That's kind of where we are. And if you think about it, how are we only there? How is it only there with a 15% increase in health insurance,
Right.
with salary increases? How is it only that?
Are we consolidating the classes?
No.
No, nobody's retiring.
Nope, I'm gonna talk about how we got here, but we have retirements, that's one way, breakage. I don't know if that's the term you use here, but breakage is the term I've used, where it's a higher salary, you're gonna replace it with a lower salary, you get the breakage in the middle of that. Those things all get accounted for. We've had some good things happen, and we've had some bad financial things happen. It always seems to balance itself. We'll go through that tonight. So this number, anybody?
Current,
Total increase.
the overall increase.
That is the overall increase that I'm presenting to you tonight. It's a 3.29, of which 2.6 is hard costs associated with special needs students that deserve every penny of that money. So that's where we are. That's a higher number than I was hoping to be at. But that's where we are for today. All right.
I'm gonna move it.
Yeah,
This top one or the bottom?
just all of it.
Oh, I can get rid of that.
So.
The other one, no.
I thought this was interesting to share. So this slide is talking about like surrounding districts. You can see we're not the lowest, and we're nowhere near the highest, and the state average is actually 5.2%, right? What this is CASBO collects the information from all the districts as to where they are in the process.
Go back twice. Go back twice, please.
How'd that happen?
I hit the screen. It's my fault, just continue.
So, the state average as of today, and no change, right, it's not gonna stay at 5.2%, but where people are at this state today, anyone who's completed the spreadsheet is 5.2. We're in there at 3.29, that's what I put us in this today. North Stonington is the only high school that we have that submitted. So I don't have Griswolds or NFAs, they have not submitted theirs on that document yet, I wasn't gonna call them and I just let it be. But North Stonington's at 6 point, I think it's over 6. 6 point what?
I can move it, but
Just tell us what it's.
6.65. I can't see
6.65.
it because I'm blocked.
So that's where they are. They won't stay at 6.65 either, just kind of give you for reference points of where things are.
1 second. Okay.
So how do we do all this? What happens? So this concept is one that is really interesting. And we've actually met with Brian and Crystal to talk about where things could happen. So who do you share services with? You can share services with the town, and you can share services with other districts. And all the small districts in the area are like us. They're all struggling financially. They're all struggling to provide. It's tough to be small. What can you do? Well, you can look at things like transportation jointers. We can look and say, if we're going to be driving through, let's say, Griswold to get to a private school, why would we not pick up all the kids from Griswold that are going to the same private school? They would either pay us or we would drop our kids at Griswold, let them hop on the Griswold bus to get to that school. Whatever it is, it's cheaper for both parties. And the outcome is the same, the kid gets to the school they need to get to. And that's one way. You look at technology, and is there a way to do that, where we combine? So in my last district, we had 14 buildings and one technology person. And then you had sub-technology people. Well, each of us have one school, how do you do that, right? Can't really do that. So can you work together? Special needs, for example. Out-of-district placements could cost over $100,000. One thing to look at over time is, let's say you're all individual schools. So Sue, you're a school district. And Sue's school is gonna handle K-2 autism in her public school. And let's say Lloyd said, Scott, we have a K-2 autism student needs to go out of district. Go over to Sue, hey Sue, meet our kid, what do you think? Sue goes, hey, we'll take the kid, and that'll be a lot less than $100,000. And possibly better because they'll be in a public setting instead of a private setting. So it's those kind of designs to look at when you look at services. And right now, the superintendents in the area, we're all discussing these things. And we're looking and seeing what's possible, what would make sense, what would better the program for cheaper money. And general operations. So for example, we received an email recently from someone who does propane. They actually do the town's propane. Now the town has a small tank. We have a much larger tank. They get charged the residential rate. We would get charged the commercial rate. So maybe it makes sense for us to be one entity, purchasing from the company and then reducing the rate for everybody. Simple things, they affect no impact to kids. The goal of anything with general operations is to reduce spending that has no impact to kids. It's easy to reduce spending by cutting staff. That's easy. Not fun, but easy. There's no thought process in saying, we'll just do it with one less. That's how you reduce a budget. Because most of the money is where in a budget? Salaries and benefits. It's usually about 80% of your budget, not leaving much else to do. So the money that you find is that way. The thing I've worked on for many, many years is this bullet. How do we reduce our general operating costs that has no impact to kids and still gets exactly what we need? If we could pay less for fuel, wouldn't you just say pay less for fuel? No one's gonna be opposed to paying less for fuel. So if we can, we should. And if that means joining with the town or some other entity, we should do that. And that's what we're looking at.
As long as they fill it.
Gotta fill it.
Okay.
All right, so health insurance, as I shared, 50% increase, but it's not flat, because I did also share there's a variable. The variable is who's taking insurance, what insurance are they taking? Now we are Connecticut State Health Plan, I'm not sure the actual name of it. We currently don't have a choice. This is bad. You have to have a choice. At some point, in some past time, we no longer have that choice. I've never seen that before. That's a new one for me, that we would lose that opportunity. Now, I think we can do something with this anyway in the future, but as of right now, we couldn't shop the district. We couldn't look to join a co-op. We couldn't do anything that possibly could save us money because we are bound to stay in this plan. That means next year, if they decide to raise the rates by 25%, this board has no ability to fix that. That's not good. So I'm gonna work on seeing is there a way around that. But not for next year, it'll be the year after, if we can do it. Don't know, but that's important to understand. That this is not a good scenario for a board to not have the leverage to look. Generally what happens, it's called, you can change your insurance as long as you stay better or equal. Meaning if the copays can't change, you can't change what access they have to doctors or access to medications. None of that can change, but who services is allowed to be changed. If you move from Aetna to Horizon or, what do we have, Anthem? Mm-hmm. That part is allowed to change, but we're not here. So again, we can't really shop the district and see.
That's bound by the plan or is it contract?
Contract. Yeah. I think there's work to be done there.
Yeah.
I think everybody would want to pay less
Yeah, of course.
Everybody would wanna pay less if they can get the same or better?
We went to that when that started because it did give us a dramatic drop in costs. Because being a small district and we had a couple of ill people.
That's
it
correct.
just was brutal.
Once your experience goes through the roof, your choices are state or, what's a pool.
That
You,
was
you can't
the
self-insure
only
here,
pool
the risk is
that
too
was
high.
Really the only pool we were eligible to get into
And
at
what
that
generally
time.
should happen is you
Yeah.
shop that.
Yeah.
We can't shop it. But you would shop that, and you would always throw yourself, I call it putting yourself on the street and finding out, is this the best deal for the staff? Is this what's best for them? And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but it's always good to ask. Right now, we're good, and we're gonna manage it, but it would be nice to be able to work with the staff and say, hey, what do you think? That's all.
Yeah, historically, we've never seen 15, but we've seen,
Say again?
we haven't seen 15 historically.
It's usually 8.
It's usually,
8 to 10.
projected to 10, and then we get it around
Yeah,
five or six.
This will come in lower too.
Everything's
They always
coming
give
in.
you the worst case.
I know everything's
Yeah.
bad, I mean, the
Yeah.
numbers out there are horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, across the country, it's not a Connecticut thing, this is awful.
Yeah, you can just see the trend happening.
Well, the biggest trend, I can tell you, because being a self-insured district for the last 5 years, you can analyze usage.
Yeah.
And where the biggest usage is happening in all these plans is your GLP-1s, the Ozempics, and anti-inflammatory drugs. Those two things have shot through the roof and for fortunes on time. So it isn't, those two things alone in my last district were, in 1 year, we raised the GLP-1s by $500,000, increase in 1 year. Anti-inflammatories were a little under 400,000. Just those two drugs. Drug classes, not
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
drugs. Not like Ozempic versus Wegovy.
Yeah,
Just-
Humira's and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, people need what they need, so it isn't about that.
Absolutely.
It's not this, it's not, nothing I would ever say would be to take away
No,
what people need at all. In fact, it's no good for an institution to have staff that stay sick.
of course.
And not good. But you always wanna do it in a way that's the best for the staff. That's-
Without overly administratively burdening anybody, right?
And also different people have different health insurance needs at different times in their life,
Absolutely.
right? A family is gonna need something different than a 21-year-old.
And you wanna also be able to offer options. Like, if you have a young family or not even a young family, some people would prefer, a healthy couple might prefer a very high deductible plan.
Exactly. Catastrophic
You know,
coverage.
a catastrophic insurance plan rather than a high premium plan. So it's just good to have options for people, that's all. Ready for this?
Yes.
Actual numbers. In 2014, 2015, your electricity bill was $63,573. Okay? Guess how much your electricity bill is now. Well, I'm gonna go to 2024, so 10 years later. Who wants to guess how much your electricity bill is?
At least
Figures
triple
for
that.
that, right?
6 figures, okay, so at least 100. What else?
I was gonna say probably about 180.
Okay, so you think it went up 3 times?
Yeah.
Anybody else? No. Here we go.
Oh.
Oh, but that doesn't include the solar lease.
Electricity plus solar
Oh,
lease.
the lease. Oh, that's excellent. Then it really worked out for us.
Let's see what it could have been if you didn't do the solar. 2014, same exact electricity use of 63 grand, right? The number I'm gonna give you now is using national trends year over year with a big bump in 21. 22% bump in 21. The other years prior on a national average was about 2.7% increase a year. That's what you'd be paying now if you didn't do solar. So good job. I think people did not realize this. I was getting told this is just a mess. It's actually good. It has another, I think we are 10 years out on the end of the lease. What you have to do with this though, is you have to make sure it stays operational. So the company is responsible for that. Have to do it. So that means we have to always be on top of it to make sure that all the grid is working. Because if the grid doesn't work, then we owe money at the end and we don't get the savings. So Brian's on top of that. So right now, we're in good shape. It's been a very positive thing to only have a $4,000 increase over a 10-year period in electricity. Your home isn't like that. If you go back and, I know Darlena has her bills from like 1927, but if you go back and you look at your bill from 2014, and look at what your bill's now, I bet it's not even close, right? So anyway, I want to share this. It was very good news. And remember, we hired Learn to help us with this. Chuck, the gentleman working with us, he went through all of it. And he spent probably half a day analyzing this for us and helping us with this. So it was great to do that. All right, here you go, as the request. So here's what you're looking at. The first number, Griswold, 6 new students will be going as of now, bringing the number for next year, taking out the 12th graders, adding in the 9th graders to 37. It's one difference from what it is this year. NFA is also one difference. The cumulative number next year is one difference, 28 versus 29. 11 of the kids. Wheeler dropped a kid because 2 are leaving, 1's coming in. So your total Wheeler will be 15. Ellis Tech, 2 more going in. So we lost 4, so we dropped 2 at Ellis Tech. 4 12th graders, if I remember correctly. Norwich Tech, I think it might have stayed the same, Norwich Tech, can't remember, but 2 new kids there. Ledyard, 1 new kid and 1 confirmed total. That's what we got. Now, there are 7 undecided. Now, the reason it's important to know that is because some of those kids did choose Ledyard. Some of those kids chose the tech schools as their number 1, but they haven't made the final decision yet. So it's possible we're going to see an increase in these 3 categories. We'll also see an increase here, but I expect an increase here based upon the 7 that I saw. I don't know where they will be, but there are kids that were accepted to like here and here and one of these. The kids left, usually almost all of them had like 2 or 3 choices that they were going through. One always being one of the regular high schools versus one of the tech schools or the BOE.
Did everybody get into where they wanted to? No?
I don't have that. I don't know if they got into where they wanted to, but a lot of kids got into a lot of places.
No, there was one wait list maybe for one of the tech schools.
We had 2 wait lists.
2 wait lists, I think.
For Norwich Tech.
Yeah.
2 wait lists on Norwich Tech. So,
But not bad, because in previous years, we've had nobody. Like, we rolled the dice and it just
Yeah.
hasn't worked in our
2 years
favor.
in a row we had no
Yeah.
outs, right?
so you have no marine science. So it's another conversation we're gonna have to have.
Long term, we would drop an hour.
Just transportation. Huh? Just transportation.
Oh.
Marine science is dropping
We're
2
not dropping
kids.
hours.
So next year, the kid that went, the 9th grader this year already should be under the impression that not gonna have transportation very long. But next year, you're gonna have 2 kids in marine science. So we'll talk about that, but that's where you are right now. Any questions on the high school? This matters because this is how we do the budget. And each of the high schools has given us their tuition for next year. That's all been factored in already as well. But you will see that the regular education tuition is basically flat. Now, the impact could happen from these 11 kids, we're not getting charged for next year. We're gonna get charged for those 11 kids in the 27-28 budget. So we have to figure that out, how that's gonna work out. That's the way, but the other schools don't charge that way. So, but it's all factored in, Darlene took care of this. The number in the budget is the number, not including these 7 undecided. We did put in their first choice, but that could shift a little bit. If their first choice was NFA, but they then decide to go to Ellis Tech, for example, that will change the budget. But we can only do what we can do at this moment in time. That's why it has to be fluid.
And just refresh my memory.
Sure.
I think you had said it made sense to continue transporting to Ellis as long as we had 2 students going there? Is that what?
So if Ellis costs X and the transportation costs X,
Well, Ellis is completely free, 0, right?
so if it's free and you're spending, let's say, Griswold, the middle tuition school for us, right? Wheeler's the cheapest, NFA is the most expensive. So 2 Griswolds would cost you $27,000,
Yeah.
$28,000. So you factor in the cost of the transportation and determine, do you want kids to not take it? If they take it, knowing there's no transportation, the parents get a stipend for transportation. We owe the stipend, up to X dollars, $6,000.
Okay.
So a parent would have to arrange their own transportation unless we could we can still transport, so even if it's not, so let's just say we don't, I think you guys undesignated it as of date, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, a parent can still say, I want to go there, and you will pay me up to $6,000 to transport my own kid there.
Because we're residents of Connecticut, is that,
It's a Connecticut thing.
is it right?
Nothing to do with
Connecticut
Volunteer.
State, we have a right as a
Yes.
state resident. Okay.
Up to 6,000 at the mileage rate of the federal government. Right now, it's 72 cents and change.
72.5.
32.5. What account would that come out of? Just kidding.
So do you look at it
Which
from the
one?
perspective of how, like when you're figuring out the cost of transport, because we had always said like it would be like a moving target kind of thing. So do you look at it from the perspective of this tuition for Griswold, or do you compare versus the cost of
Transport.
transportation versus the cost of reimbursing parents?
You'd
Or
have
does that-
to, you'd have to guess, would a student still go there? So in other words, if a parent has no means to do it,
Correct, right,
then $6,000 doesn't mean anything. It's not
Right.
gonna be enough money to get the kid there.
yeah,
So a parent who knows they cannot transport, if you're not transporting, will not be able to make the decision to have their child go to that school.
okay,
So it comes down to us guessing what that outcome would be, which is kind of a hard, that's a hard guess. So where it's a challenge with transportation is you have 3 high schools, right? And so you run a bus this way, you run a bus this way, you run a bus this way. Then you have to run the other vans or
Right.
buses to all these other ones, which is why I'm assuming you guys went into the process you went into last year in the first place to manage all that. If Ellis Tech last year had 0.
Yeah.
So these 2 students know they have 2 more years, they have 2 years of transportation, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Then there's no more. The board can revisit, but as of right now, that would be it. And the board would then say, well, we're just gonna not do that and we'll give you the money. And what could happen, just so you understand, is a parent could say, I can't do that.
right.
My kid's now going to NFA.
Yeah,
And
and
then
that's
it's gonna cost
costing you. the
That's
other-
where it gets tricky.
Well, I know there's been talks, particularly with the tech school, with the lottery, about towns having designated spots, like, and I know that's,
It's not on the table.
yeah,
Yeah.
but there's just a whole lot of conversation the last I had heard, and because, Voluntown residents pay state taxes, we should have a right to have a kid at tech school,
Right.
so I'm just curious to see what happens.
How it plays out.
Yeah.
Right now, you're in fine shape for it.
Yeah.
You've protected yourself. And that's probably the best you could have done at this point.
It's good that we're getting some of the kids in there.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And like we said, if all of a sudden you get 2, 3 every year,
Yeah,
it's gonna probably pay to just
because
transfer.
then you'll have 8, 9,
Yeah, I mean, you don't wanna lose those 8, 9 kids going into,
right,
$150,000 in tuition.
right.
So, it's a balance. So the fleet. So in this budget now, with the numbers we've shared with you, it includes buying a wheelchair access van. And it also includes our fully upgraded radio systems for all the fleet. Right now, it's not good, it's kind of a mess. That's about 15,000. The new van, generally, 75,000 was the last one we purchased, so maybe 75 to 80,000. We would be trading in 2 vehicles, hopefully get some money for those, and maybe drop it to like 60, 65,000. Lease purchase that over 5 years, you're looking at about a $15,000 payment. So right now, that line went from we have a $92,000 payment for the 4 buses we bought, and you'd add 15 in the budget process. But here's what happens. We actually get out of this, all of that, with a negative in our transportation. Because the maintenance drops significantly when you have 5 new vehicles. So this year, our maintenance is less than half of what was budgeted because of that. So next year, to fund this, we reduce the maintenance to a realistic number for having 5 new vehicles. And that's how we're funding this. So that's the way you do fund it. You reduce your maintenance costs, keep a newer fleet. If you think of that for yourselves, you'd have maybe a more expensive newer car, but you're no longer, when your car's off warranty, at 36,001 miles is when it starts to putter. At least all my cars do. They wait exactly till the minute after 36,000 miles. You have no more warranty, then you gotta start pouring money into it. And then you all decide at the same time, when am I gonna stop pouring money into it and just get a new car? And that's kind of our look at this, looking at what we know of the maintenance. So we have a maintenance line, I've talked to you about that. And right now we are at, with the 2 new things we just added, we're under 40,000 still on maintenance, which is a lot less than budgeted.
We were kind of in, en route to purchase more buses too, so are we holding okay with what we have that's not?
So budgetarily, I think if we go with at least one more vehicle this year, we need another wheelchair van.
We know that has to happen, so yeah.
So we could add one more, but I don't know how much we'd be able to reduce in the maintenance, so it would probably just be an additional $25,000 to the budget. So that's how I would budget. If you tell me if we wanna consider that, I would go back and throw another 25 grand into the budget, do a 6-year lease purchase, and fund it. Which would be about what it would cost us to do one more bus.
It's just good to know for evaluating what we need.
Yeah. So, the biggest work I think that we engaged in was the assignment of funding. What I mean by that is a line-by-line review of the whole budget. That's every line, looking at every line, me yelling, Darlena, about every half a minute. Scott, I'm still doing other work, is usually what I get, and then eventually she does come
I
in.
say, hold on.
It's our budget banter, I guess. But we've gone through every single line to see the realistic nature of the line, looking at past usage of dollars, why these lines are the way they are, and we went through those lines. So that resulted in some increases, but more decreases than increases. That's a big, big reason why the budget is not 5% or 6% right now, because of that particular line of work. What it does is it puts a real cost to every expense. There is a little bit of fluff, but because you have to have a surplus, you cannot spend more than you have. So you still need places to account for the rainy day. And remember, we are opening a 2% non-lapsing account. At the end of this school year, rather than making purchases, we're gonna put money into that account. If in case of a rainy day, you will have a surplus of money in the account. So that's important to understand. When you budget, that's really vital. So, any questions about?
The money in that account can go to anything.
It's protected for certain usage, but it's all academic usage. So it isn't like you can say, we're gonna send Lloyd to Europe for his conference he asked to go to. Lloyd, the answer is no. But it can be for most things in our budget. After that, we looked at our grant funding. There's different funding that we need to have to offset costs that come from grants. We're working through that process now. And we're assigning those into what's called a net budget. If you know you're getting, I think Rachel's the first one that gave me that language actually. If you know you're getting $2,500 back from a grant to offset a specific expenditure, reduce the cost of the expenditure by $2,500. That way the grant funds the rest of it. That's how you should need to budget. So we've done that in only the few places it exists. Doesn't exist that much, not that much money, but about 20 grand, I think, altogether for those grants.
So far.
But that's good, it's 20 grand that we normally would have budgeted, that we're no longer budgeting. Big part of this district, I said, is your class size. If you really wanted money, there's money, but I would highly suggest you don't go near that. That'd be my suggestion. You also have very low admin costs, believe it or not. Everyone thinks admin always, take all the money. But when I looked around the other districts, we're shorthanded, if anything. I'm not saying we feel shorthanded, I mean, we might, but I'm not suggesting spend more. There's no new money in admin budget for next year. I'm just saying, we're in good shape there. That's often a place people look to say, stop spending at the top. You're not really doing that. So kudos to the board for always maintaining that. The shared service review, talked about that already. Working with the town, I'm telling you, it's been fantastic. It's been absolutely fantastic. All of the highest praise for Brian and Crystal so far. We talk, we're having lunch again next week. Open, it's been absolutely wonderful. And we believe there's opportunities there for both the whole town to win. So I gotta say, it's been a highlight so far. Talked about E-rate before. The budget does account for 30% reductions in all the categories that it accounts for. So how it works for us, if our internet, to have internet in the district costs X dollars, it now costs 30% less. That's how it works, it's basically a coupon for the percentage of kids that are free reduced lunch, that's the number. So if we had 100% free reduced lunch kids, it'd be 100% off. That's the way E-rate works, it's based upon that number. So we just went in the budget and we chopped 30% off on all the categories. So it's free money. This is one, we're not gonna get rich. You've done this before. You're not gonna get millions of dollars. But we should be assessing our Medicaid reimbursement. You really should be. So it's a pain, but there are companies, one company that specifically, the charge is very minimal and they basically, it's kind of like E-rate. E-rate, we don't really do much. The company does it and they take a piece. Medicaid's done the same way. There's some work to be done at the school level, but it's not like Darlene is gonna have to go file. This company does it for us. All we have to do to make it sense is we have to net more money than we pay the company. And then it's kind of worth it. Unless it's so much burden of manpower and you get like $500, then you wouldn't do it. It might be that, but I'm unwilling to just say that. I wanna do it and see what we get and then determine it. So it's not budgeted right now, there's nothing budgeted for it, that would be a bonus, but worth doing. You should do that for every opportunity until you realize, and the district might have already done it and determined that it wasn't worth it.
Is that for the assessment for special education?
That's included.
So it just involves assigning every student that receives a service, what they receive, and then that goes into a formula, and the formula gets sent off by this company, and then it gets collected. Again, if it's $1,500 for the company and we get $5,000 back, and we net $3,500, it's still $3,500. So as long as you determine the cost of the manpower to do it was less than $3,500, it's worth it. And again, the bus fleet is a big deal. Like again, we're gonna purchase a new vehicle, but we're not gonna spend more money. That's good. That's good. And why do we do all this? All these. And we have Sean up there. Gotta take care of Shauna. And we have some staff. We do this for staff. We do this for our students. This is why we do all this work. That's why you sit at these tables. That's why you do the work. Why you read the budgets. And why you do all this. And it's important when you do a budget to remember the why. So, and now that's where I am for today. And open to questions.
Will you have more information next time about the grants?
About which grants?
Just
The offsetting grants?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have the information now. The offsetting grants, the kind of grants that we're talking about, there's an adult education grant. There's a grant for transporting kids to magnet schools. There's excess cost grants. The other grants are all part of our budget anyway, like title grants.
Yes.
Are already in there. Those other grants are not currently accounted for, they are now accounted for in our budget. Those are the specific ones. And those come to about 20 between the three of them for next year. I think one was 52, one was 11, and one was under 3.
I'm confused with the question. Do you wanna know how much the grants are going to be for next year, or do you want to
No,
offset?
I was just asking like for a general slide about grants, like highlights.
Like all of our grants?
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
Yeah. do that for you.
I'm assuming like if I look at the social worker
Yes,
piece of the budget, it's budgeted at 0, but we have a social worker position or
We have a
service.
$25,000 ARP grant.
Yeah.
That is already factored in to reduce the costs.
Right.
Can we
So-
share that with the town? Not anymore.
The ARP grant is
our
ours.
grant is
directly.
ours.
No, I mean
Yeah.
the actual person though,
Yes,
we share
Preston.
it with the town.
Preston.
No, we share. The town doesn't use our social.
Okay.
And we were talking about it a couple years back.
Okay.
I was like,
We
oh,
started that
yeah, we
shared
talked
kind
about-
of service.
Interesting, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, 'cause there
I would
were, like,
welcome that conversation.
Community type
Sure.
things.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
This one's
Yeah,
like
like they would do one
That'd be
for the
great.
community and
see how we can do that.
part-time and.
Generally, sometimes the town pays more money than we pay for the same service. And those are the, or vice versa, and that's where you wanna capture the town shared service, where they win, or we win, or we both win. Because if either one of us wins, and the other one doesn't lose,
At the end of the day,
Everybody
the
wins.
taxpayer wins, right?
yeah,
Regardless
us
of-
winning and them losing isn't good.
No.
Them losing and us, there's no good to that.
Right.
Win-win, do it.
Yeah.
So as long as you can identify those scenarios, that's what we're looking at.
We still
What
have the Title
scenarios?
One, the idea, 611, 619.
Yeah.
School readiness is not as good as it used to be, but we still use that. The ARP, mental health, we use that.
We only have 2 more years of that, as of now, right?
Yes, no, next year is our last year.
No, one more.
I'm sure they'll come out with another one,
Something else.
yeah, but they're much harder to get.
We could do that though.
Every
We could put
grant.
together,
Yeah.
we could put together a nice slide of grants. Anything else?
Line by lining it over here, don't worry.
And we can do that, so we can line by line this, I can go through with you some key lines right now if you'd like.
I figured you would give us the highlights of what that would look like without going line by line.
Yeah, because we have, it's April that goes to the town?
I probably have a dozen or so specific lines I've
We
highlighted
have-
to see if that was of interest to you. They're not highlighted in your packet, they're highlighted on my computer, and I could walk you through those if that's of interest, or I could do that next time and give you a summary sheet. I just don't know how much,
Maybe that, we'll wait for that, I mean, I don't think unless it's something's jumping out.
Town for dissemination?
We
When
we
do
have
you
to
think
send
you're-
our first draft in March,
In March.
March. When do you think you'll have the final on the health insurance increase?
April or May.
yeah, after the fact.
Sometimes comes after the meeting time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does the staffing stay the same?
The global staffing,
Yeah.
that's all, any staffing adjustments are factored in, but as of right now, there's no significant, but we have to factor in our enrollment. So sometimes enrollment causes something, but nothing, no staffing change that would impact what we do in any capacity at this moment. But again, we're not done,
Yeah, I totally get that.
so at this stage, it's tough to answer that with complete. But we have to continuously look at various things. Big staffing would only be if the board says, I need to do that. But we're not, nor Amy, nor Lloyd, nor myself, or Brian are looking to say, cut staffing. We might have to due to something, but we're not fully there yet.
Yet, come on now, you're gonna use this word. Improvement of instruction, down negative 425%. Clearly, it's only
How much was the money?
$1,000,000. I know, it's just the money, but
It's always funny when there's like a $300 account that's down $100, it's like,
exactly,
oh.
that's what I said, I mean, I'll be the first one to show you what your percentage looks like.
Well, but here's why something could be down, so just to explain that. When I talked before about the line by line, we actually looked and said, what do we actually spend? And historically spend?
Yeah.
Versus just leave it as is. There were lines in there that we're looking at it and going, we've never spent that money. So
let's just put it at the.
why is it there? Let's put it back where we can use it.
Yeah.
You know, so we did things like that.
Which I appreciate that generally broadly as you approach the budget for sure, like that's great. It's just, and things that matter for.
Yeah.
For,
Nothing,
yeah,
so.
their instruction,
So nothing with instruction was cut in any capacity, 0. In fact, Amy asked me early on in the process, are you cutting supplies? And I said, there's not enough money to cut supplies. I don't get enough money back to cut supplies. It just aggravates people. So I just, no. So that's already done, right, Amy? We already sent all that out. No cuts for that. We didn't cut programs, nothing like that at all. This is a pretty solid rollover budget to do what we're doing today, tomorrow. That's what this is. It's basically saying, let's repeat what we do tomorrow. That's where you are in the budget process right now. And to do that, it would cost you 3.29%. If you want to change to what we do today, tomorrow, it's either gonna cost more or less. But that's the rollover, 3.29%, which I thought was pretty good rollover, actually. It's a pretty incredible rollover considering how much is static cost that we have no choice about.
are we saving anything, I'm just trying to think of, with the increase in our special ed costs wholly by the high schools, are we saving anything internally from a
So this budget,
OTPT kind of?
this budget includes an increase in power support for the K-8,
Okay,
not a decrease.
alright,
So
Yeah.
overall cost of special education is that final number, not just high school. It's the whole thing.
got it.
But no, we didn't reduce, we actually do have a reduction in one way, but a increase in another way.
We
So-
dropped the teacher last year, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't do that. This budget, to Rachel's question, does not include a K-8 drop-in teacher. It includes an increase of para support at this time because of a program we're looking to develop. So the one thing I can tell you about special education, the one way you can't fix your cost tomorrow. However, if you ever wanna look at how you can possibly decrease costs, it's about building prevention programs. Heavy cost intervention, early on programs that cost a lot up front. You can't guarantee they will prevent a out-of-district placement. So for example, out-of-district placement is usually for a child that we don't have the means, regardless of funds, to educate in a setting. Meaning they need a therapeutic environment, usually we can't, if a blind child moves in, we can't educate a fully blind child here. So they're gonna have to go out, so you can't prevent enough to control all the costs of that. But generally speaking, on a large scale, if you provide intervention programs and spend money up front, hire a BCBA for behavioral support on staff. It's $120,000 position with benefits. Not guaranteed to save you money on the back end. Probably, but not guaranteed. So you can wind up spending $120,000 up front and still spend the $100,000 out of district type placement anyway. But it would be something to consider, is looking at our early childhood support programs. Like next year, we have a program we're looking to build that involves 3 or 4 of our students. We believe that'll be the right program, and hopefully that will keep the kids getting their education right here. Not only for cost, but it's great to keep your own kids. Educate them here. So that's the kind of stuff. So we did add some money into that for the K-8 model for next year for a specialized program. And we're still working on it. Lloyd and Amy and I have a meeting at some point in the next 2 or 3 weeks on that. With an out-of-district company that will help us build. So if you don't do those things, right, then you could lose those students to not be able to learn in this environment. And that's where your costs go through the roof. So if you can keep a kid, it is our obligation to do so, because number one, it's best for the kid, and it is best financially, but it's mostly because it's best for the kid.
It's just so hard with like such small class sizes,
Very tough.
right? It's like, if we have 1,000
Size matters
students,
here,
it's
big
so
time.
much easier to justify that salary than.
We were able to build, in my last district, because of numbers,
Right,
to build
Yeah.
behavioral disorder classrooms.
yeah, right,
But, and you should see what I outfitted those classrooms with.
right.
1 teacher, 2 RBTs, a para, a dedicated social worker, and a dedicated BCBA to 2 classes. It's a fortune, but we had 10 tuition students for those 2 classes. So it all makes sense in the end. But remember I said about shared service,
Yeah.
special ed?
Yep.
That would be how you do it. Sue, remember we use Sue as the model. She's gonna be the K2 autism class, school. So that means any participating districts who have K2 autism students would go through a process of selection into Sue's school. Amy's gonna have the MD class. So any multiply disabled students that are not autistic might go to that school. And every district would win because they'd be in a public setting, not a private setting, with regular education, typically developing students rather than only atypically developing students. It's a much better scenario. Can't do it by ourselves because we can't.
But you could do maybe a Griswold.
You can do it, involve everybody who's interested and come up with a way to do that. And then all you're spending is the cheaper amount, but the kid is getting a public school setting better than a private school setting. Unless kid is, needs are too great for a public school setting, and then that still exists, doesn't change that. But you can create private school settings if you do this kind of work. You just can't do it by ourselves. There's no way to do it.
Yeah, no, it's.
The end doesn't work. It doesn't work.
We were discussing some of our, preschool especially, just our numbers and whether we, who we can broaden it to, but we've always kept the people with special needs to be, they were all handled in town, and that was like,
Right.
I don't know that that's by
No.
choice or like law or whatnot, but, it'd be great if there was some sort of, community solution.
Yeah.
This is really helpful. I like the presentation. It gets us thinking and breaks it down in a rational way and puts some numbers to percentages and
Try to make it simple.
Yeah.
The legwork behind each of those pages, like I said, if the board would like at the next meeting, generally speaking, I do budget now for the rest of the time. I would do a budget presentation of some form every meeting. That's my usual way. So the next time what I could do is we could do grants, I could do a slide on grants and a specific line item, maybe a dozen or so line items that are worth showing you, specifics. And that would be it. I won't go back to the whole thing again,
right.
but just do that and make it a couple of slides. And make it quick, maybe 10, 15 minutes on it.
Perfect.
And then that way you can have exactly what Darlene and I are seeing consistently, pretty much every day, every minute of every day.
Yeah. Or even just the line item and just be, speak to it. You don't have to, give.
I'll just make it so it's organized and simple for you to look at. Going through all those pages we designed it differently on the back end with all my notes and stuff and colors and everything has to be pink because it's Darlene. Sometimes I get a purple.
We love pink.
Sometimes I get a purple.
Yeah, she needs glitter.
Blue and yellow.
Glitter, I know. The whole budget has to be glittered.
Can I stop screen sharing? Can I shut that
That's
part?
it.
Okay.
All right, guys?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
You're
We'll
welcome.
work on that.
Have a great night, guys.
You too.
Okay. So, old business, kind of a revisit to old business is the Board of Ed and Superintendent evaluation forms. We only bring this up because we haven't really looked at the forms and agreed on maybe like the form or, how we're gonna do it at all is future work that we're gonna do, with one another. Initial feedback's been shared with, Scott and then I think of Megan and I were
Yeah, I
kind of
think
throwing the
that, and
round.
this is just a proposed template, this
It's a
isn't like
proposed-
a finalized or
Right.
anything, it's just if we like the format, then it's gonna take a little more finessing, I think.
So I think everybody was comfortable with the superintendent evaluation form. That's the feedback I got, but we can also share if we feel otherwise. But right now, I think we're pretty comfortable with that. I don't think we need to approve it, it's just a general.
You don't need a board.
Yeah, right, just a, speak up now for hold your peace on superintendent review. The Board of Ed one, just read that one, this is the first kind of, since we made a couple updates since the last one we've seen, so take a look at it. If you have any comments or thoughts or suggestions, send them my way and we'll continue with there. And that is that on the evals. I think the timeline isn't that a June timeline for the June meeting?
Usually, yeah.
Usually?
Towards May.
After we
We
get to
could
the
do,
budget?
yeah, May, June, you guys could hold.
Yeah, cause the contracts are, then they turn over at, or effective June 30th, so do the eval prior to that, so. Okay.
Mhm.
We have some old not old, second reading policy, updates, the 1312 public complaint policy and form.
Yeah, so this was the one that we were talking about, whether or not there was gonna be like a supplemental hierarchy type form.
Like, I feel like we talked
There-
about this one already.
There already is a form that's just relating to another policy that you're thinking.
Yeah.
I know, like, or you can just remove the form if you don't, because the form does make it,
Is this a perfunctory situation?
huh?
This is perfunctory, right? This is like
The policy itself,
change something that isn't really substantive in any way?
Yeah, I
it's
mean, I
just
think
revising
The
the
way that the
policy.
form is
Yeah.
They,
written
Cabe
is-
added the form, but that's,
Cause
that,
we already have the
that's the
form
most
for the
thing.
actual media literacy, which
Yeah.
is what this is confusing compared to the policy, so.
Right. so you
If
can
you
still,
think it's easier to pull the form, I'm
That's
totally
fine.
comfortable with that.
whatever
Me
you
too.
want. Okay,
And then Scott had mentioned, cause one of the things I brought up was just an understanding of like who you should contact in which situation, like if you have a question on an IEP, but it's related to a general education subject, like do I copy both, do I copy notes, like what is the?
Did we talk about the
Check, man.
chain of command on the website?
Okay,
And so we did something interesting in one of my districts. It's costly, but every board member had their card, and on the back of the card was the chain of command. So when a parent
Oh,
would
there
approach
we
you
go.
with a question, you can of course talk to them, sorry, I can't talk to you here. No, you would talk to them, but then leave them with the chain of command, rather than hoping they go to the website and find it on the website. And it was really just for the board members to be able to have a closure with a parent who approaches them on a topic and gives them kind of direction. I'm not suggesting we do that, but the concept of having chain of command being front and center is helpful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I had asked was like I said, there's a lot of, because we are so small, there is a lot of overlap, like
Yeah.
if there's, you know, something occurring on a bus, like, you know, do you notify the teacher, do you notify like, and maybe you can judge overkill, maybe you would rather just triage it through Amy if they're not sure,
I vote
you
for
know.
all questions go to Amy.
Sorry.
I actually do get all questions.
Well, she does, right.
Where's the toilet paper for the bathroom? I know where that is.
It's funny, if you call my phone number, it goes to Amy.
Yeah.
For real?
No, but if you do that.
I know the forwarding, I know how to forward a number.
Amy didn't know.
But
We're
yeah, I
not
mean,
doing
I
that,
just think it would be like a nice visual, but if
Out of
you're
office,
comfortable
contact.
triaging everything.
I mean, I feel like
that's
people
extra.
call, yeah, I mean,
And
you
you don't think
guys
people
have to
aren't
put in
gonna
the
go to the
extra work.
website anyway?
I haven't noticed a real
Scott
problem with
will
it.
do it, not me.
And do people go to the website?
We just let them keep copying.
Put a lunch menu.
Put a lunch menu, it was supposed to Google Docs.
I mean, Amy, you would know better, is I mean, I don't notice any issue with parental calls going to the wrong place, but do you? I don't.
No, and I'll redirect people
And you're
sometimes, I'll say, I really don't know, you know, you really do need to talk to the, you know, classroom teacher, transportation, or I'll say, I'll field this for you, just so you know, like, if this happens again, call this person. They can-
We found the most challenging issue was parents to board members. And having board members, giving board members the tools to get them to the right person. I don't know how much of a problem it is when they call the school to get to the right
I tell
person.
them to call Amy, so.
Me too.
That's it, just call and ask.
I don't even care what the question is asked.
Call your teacher.
I mean, most people really do reach out to teachers, quite,
Yeah.
I mean, they, in here, but I mean, they really are good about asking first, you know.
Okay. Yeah, if it's not a problem, we don't need to fix it, I just wanted to make sure that we're not, cause you have enough.
As long as I
things.
continue just calling Amy, it's fine.
Okay. Alright, so then I would like to make a motion to
Adopt as amended.
approve as amended without the form, because we already have the form under the media literacy.
so you're approving the policy, it's also removing the regulation and eliminating the form.
Do you adopt
Correct.
regulations in Connecticut?
They do,
You do.
yeah,
I think I asked you that before.
so,
Okay. Was that in there? To remove the regulation?
I'll write it,
She's
Well, it's
adjust the
all,
motion.
the regulation is all crossed out.
yeah,
Oh, I see, okay.
it's noted.
Got it. That's all.
I'll add it in the wording, I'll add it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard? Motion passes. Okay, policy number 2 is 3171, spot 1, non-lapsing educational fund. That. I'm good, but anybody have any questions or discussion on it?
Make a motion on that.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? None heard?
And just so you know, Chuck from Warren
Okay,
is working on that. He'll be speaking, I believe, with Tony. I want to make sure that Tony is good with the way in which we open the account, so that the town is fully aware. They are fully aware.
okay.
That's already done, but just that it's done in a way that everyone is working together on, so.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, there won't be any, you know. I don't know. Right hand, not talking the left hand, when it goes to the
We're
town,
not
so
doing that.
that's, yeah.
And Tony, both Tony, Crystal, and Brian are all fully aware, spoken to all three of them. And it's just a matter of Chuck, who's investigating that, he's here today investigating the process, and he'll be reaching out to whoever he needs to reach out to make sure that everyone's on the same page.
Alright, so everyone's on board with that, no nays, so the motion passes. Okay, we'll move to new business now. These are first readings, 5114, suspension and expulsion due process. 6140, curriculum. 6171, special education. They do at a second reading, so, I just didn't, if anybody before this meeting had any questions that we wanted to bring up, we can research. But if not, we can still do that, send any questions our way. And we'll revisit at second meeting, at the second reading next, next meeting, yeah. Sound good?
Can I make one comment?
Sure.
One issue I have with special ed one.
Yes, please.
It says at the beginning of each year, the district will provide the student with a handout developed by the state. Explain what it means to have an IEP or a section 504. I want to do a little more reading because that's fine for older children, but I hate to give a kindergartner a brochure. Read carefully with the family, work on how the child is educated as to the fact that they need some
For
extra.
sure, yeah.
It's a very delicate issue, and when I read through everything, that's something that sort of stood out to me as a possible issue, so I want to do a little more.
So before the next second reading then?
It's buried in something that talks about reaching age 14.
Yeah.
If what's implied is that all of these other things happen when the child's 14, I'd have no problem. But I just.
So Lloyd, can you check on that, get back to me, and I'll bring it back to the board before the next meeting, so that you guys are aware of that.
Can you actually check that for K Blue Key? Because even at the middle school level, sometimes the parents like to frame that in a different. So I would.
My question will be, what, are there options to the school to determine in conjunction, in collaboration with the family, when that should
Yeah.
happen?
Cause you're doing PPP, so you could even solicit the feedback from the parent, if that helps.
Once I know what the expectations are. Thank you.
For the curriculum policy, is that it?
Must
Or
be.
is something we already do?
We already have a committee, and they have a full framework, right? And I think that's.
So it's adding prescribed courses of studies?
What page? It's on 6140, it's just a,
Oh, well, 614.
So what they've done is, they've taken the existing already state statute, and there's an adjustment made at the state level and they added these in.
Yeah.
So if you didn't do this, you'd be in violation of state statute.
Right.
So it's really, these become, I use the term perfunctory. I mean, you can't decide to not include Puerto Rican and Latino studies.
So like, do we provide CPR training currently?
Yes.
Eighth grade?
Eighth grade, yeah.
Because you have to be 14 to get your card.
But if we
Most of
didn't,
that, yeah.
if we didn't follow that, we still have to do the policy, we have to adjust it what we do.
Right.
No,
I
we
mean, it's just
yeah.
a screening for certain things, I think that's maybe not a K-3 guidance.
So the full standards would show us where this is supposed to occur.
Okay.
They're just saying your document has to show that you do it. This is, it becomes somewhat perfunctory, and you can't really say no. Those are my favorite policies, really. You're doing this, but go approve it.
I know, this one kinda got me because I'm like, where's the regulation? You know, like, where is that piece that's forcing us, our hand to do this? Cause it's usually, it's like there's a mandated regulation right behind it that gives us like, oh, well, they're saying all this stuff, and so I didn't really see that, so I.
Well, usually they don't send it with the K policy updates unless it's significant, but I can just request to find out if there's
Yeah, and you might wanna just
one.
send that, you know,
Sure.
I mean, at least to us, we can kind of,
On the curriculum and the special ed, or just the curriculum one?
maybe both.
Okay. I'll forward to the policy committee.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we'll look into that a little bit more. We can go for the readings, doesn't have to be a second either, so. Yeah, we can, we do as much research as we want, or just say, hey, it's not a regulatory thing and we're not doing it.
On your computer programming construction, is that true computer programming, or is there like typing included as part of that?
It would be typing. So there's like, so what we've worked on now, because we did not fulfill Margaret's position and we reinstated that library integration position that we had. So she does pieces of that, we do typing, especially in lower school, because they type on SBAC. But they do like, computer searches, Canva, like running those types of things. I think once a week.
They did some coding too in
Coding,
the
yeah.
past, like, as well.
And they have that opportunity now, like we have, different coding, like on Wednesdays, they can choose that.
Mhm. I think of that, computer programming stuff.
Yeah.
I just heard the feedback from my own children, I am not, I'm a coder. Like, you code? I didn't know that. Well,
Yeah,
Coding
I'm
class,
just,
okay.
well, that's my question, I'm just almost curious if there's been any evaluation as to whether or not that those types of things are better than focusing more on typing.
Yeah, you need a person, you would need a staff member
Well, I'm just even like,
to do the coding piece,
well,
like
I'm
the
talking
needs.
about the opposite, instead of doing coding, like obviously how to do a search, right, how to research, that's important,
Yes.
right? Like primary sources, secondary, like I get all of that. But in terms of coding, that's really not an effective use of period time versus.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of,
Yeah, so
coding.
I'm just
We have
curious
coding
as
kits,
to-
so like science people can come in, or coding online, but like, it's not what you're thinking, like a class.
Right.
Yeah.
There are
No, I
programs.
get
No,
that,
typing's way more
but the
important.
way that they write it, computer programming
Yeah.
is,
Mhm.
doesn't emphasize what we're actually focusing on.
Right.
And they're probably not funding it either.
Right.
Just do these things, but we're not gonna do it.
Yeah. I mean, like
Right,
computer programming, really, like, when you get in high school, if you're interested in that,
Yeah.
I would assume,
Becomes a high
like, it's an actual, like, thing.
Oh, yeah,
It's like,
right.
I wouldn't take class, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have our few takeaways for that, those pieces. The youth service bureau, bylaw update, right? So, we were given that by law, so we just need to approve it as such so that they can carry that out. Do we have a motion for the board to approve the youth service viewers bylaws as amended?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Heard? Motion passes. Healthy food certification, not this one. That's also the authorization for the sale of food and beverages, but this is something that.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so I have to read this locally, a couple of motions. So we need a motion, for the health food option pursuant to CGS section 10-21 5F. Town Board of Education votes yes to participate in the healthy food option and certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately for reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups. All in favor? Aye. Do we have the motion first? Also, we have the motion, sorry. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unheard, motion passes. Okay, we need a motion also for food and beverage exemptions. The Longtown Board of Education votes yes and will allow the sale of students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutritional standards and beverages not listed in section 10-22Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extra activity, for example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates or events. Soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not.
Someone wrote this.
Oh, wow.
The state.
Someone said, I'm gonna write this.
I mean, well, it's meetings, team meetings. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unheard, motion passes. All right, that's enough of that.
We didn't do the date change yet?
You know what? We're not even at that point yet.
No, I didn't say that, I meant, I thought we did already.
No, not officially, no.
Okay, then,
You have to check.
Huh? To say it? She can read it.
yeah, that's F.
It's because of, the town requested that.
Oh, that's what it was. I didn't think that was me.
They had a deadline to meet, so.
Okay, so, there's a request to, again, to move our Board of Ed meeting date from 3/12, the second Thursday, to 3/5. I guess the town is requesting it because they need certain information prior to that date.
I think the budget. I think the budget.
What did they want to do?
We just move our meeting to.
We need to move it earlier because they need something that we need to do.
I think
We need to do something on the 5th before they
I don't know if it's approved the budget, is
Yeah.
it something related to
They need
that?
us to move it.
Yeah.
It was about us approving something before their meeting. Their meeting, I think, is on the 11th,
Yeah, which is the day
the day
before
before our meeting was set.
ours was on the
We
12th.
also need to, the capital projects.
At the Capitol.
Projects report needs to get done before that time too, so.
When do they have to have everything for the town?
So
That's the
that's,
first take.
that's March, which is basically 2 weeks from tonight.
Right.
So,
March, what, fifth?
yeah,
Oh, no.
This is the first Thursday of March
Yeah,
versus the
that's
second
fine.
Thursday. I don't even know, I can't believe, where is February going?
Yeah.
Ah. Spelling bee, pasta dinner,
Literacy night.
literacy
We
night.
didn't know it was a board meeting, we picked that date.
Okay. All right, so, does anybody have concerns with that fifth date? Okay, do we have a motion to move the next board meeting up 1 week from March 12th to March 5th?
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed, none heard, motion passes. Margaret, just change everything.
I'm just concerned without, well, I mean, I'm assuming Val is okay with it and without our here, cause there's what, 5 of us here, so we don't have a quorum.
Mhm.
Even if somebody gets sick. Not that anybody's gonna get sick. But there's 5, so.
We'll just make sure to make them
Notify them.
aware that
Yep.
that happened, just like right after this, hopefully, just so we can get it on their calendars or let us know if there's concern. They're important, obviously, just us budget, so. Okay. So the school calendar adjustment, we need to do some adjusting to that as well?
Well, we did have Tuesdays, we have closed for 2 days. So we do have the issue of adding 2 days back.
I'm with you.
That's an adjustment for this year's calendar.
Do we wanna get to March and then figure this out, because we don't know what's happening?
I would wait.
table it,
Yeah, let's
table.
get there.
Okay, now, we have how many days, 184?
Not tonight.
Okay. Got it, good. Good.
Alright.
Because it might snow Monday.
There's one maybe on Monday, so.
Okay,
We'll see.
school use request.
Thank you for inferring.
So we have is it the Allentown Farmers? And isn't it these for the town hall,
Yes.
Yep.
Jim.
2 of them? Yeah, we need a motion just to approve the school use request for the Allentown Farmers Market on Sundays this summer.
And for, again, refresh my memory, the town hall is the one that's responsible for all the insurance stuff, right? Or is that us? Right,
It's on this, it says, we have their own.
Town of Allentown,
Yeah.
it says listed for the,
Okay,
Insurance.
yeah, see,
Because it's the EDC, it's
Yeah,
their
right.
commission.
yeah, and they make sure they're all insurance.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Rachel did.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard? That passes. Okay, and we need a motion to approve the school use request for the town of Allentown for the annual town meeting on 5/26, May 26, at 6 p.m.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None heard? Motion passes. Is that the Tuesday after Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Oh.
It always lands like that.
Get all the people to the town square and then. Numbers of the town.
Does anybody know if they're doing a referendum?
They plan on voting that night.
Happy to keep us being at the town meeting.
They're not planning a referendum right now.
Okay. And. Oosh. Personnel. We have a few, I'm gonna give you a list of things and it's just one motion, so you guys can be aware. Okay. So it's a motion to appoint the following positions. Emily Nelson as head volleyball coach. Jennifer Surface as assistant volleyball coach, Sarah Seifert as head track and field coach, Angela Orzel as assistant track and field coach, Erlina Ranger as drama coach, Kayla Beausoleil as drama coach. How's that? Oh,
Barbara Beausoleil, Barbara.
it's Beausoleil though, right? That's the, that's how
I'm
it
gonna
is.
say Barbara because that's her old last name. That's
Well,
what I call her, Miss Barbara.
I do too, but
Well,
I.
anything else?
We reject you.
We reject the new last name.
I will have, during a conference, I will get the correct French pronunciation, because I care, you know, I mean, I have that same situation. I got the bow right, I mean, that's, she doesn't have my same like 3 parts to it. Most like, that's okay. So do we have a motion for all of those positions?
Motion.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Great, thanks. Oh, discussion, yes?
I was just saying that I didn't put in the thing, the resignation. There's gonna be more personnel motion.
Okay. Well, all in favor for that, none heard for any nays, so motion's passed on all of those appointments, and thank you for your time and service to our activities. Okay, so we do have another, so we have a, another personnel item of the van driver resignation.
Right.
So we,
And then this motion to approve that.
yeah. Do we have to,
Or do you wanna just do
a
another?
second?
You just do the motion, it's
Yeah.
fine.
We'll do a second.
And is there a new, nothing yet? They're advertising still for a new,
Well, the motion is
just to accept her resignation.
there's nothing else in the motion.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so no, it's, with regrets, well, thank you, Lynn, for your time and always, taking great care of our kids in the band, so,
Okay.
we will, we'll accept the resignation, motion for that. Motion.
Thank
All in favor? Aye. Aye, with regrets. And motion passes. That's right there too. Okay. And that is our last piece, right? So we, our upcoming meetings before we move to executive is, switched to March 5th. And, May 26th is now in our calendar for 7 for the town meeting. And just our budget updates, so, policy things. Okay, great. So we need a motion to, enter executive session and invite, Scott Feder for purposes of discussing technology contract and negotiations per statute 1206A and B. Motion. Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? None heard. Motion passes.
Lock us down.